The habit is not stronger than you. It is just repeated more than your discipline. Let me ask you something real. How many times have you said, "This is the last time," and then found yourself doing the same thing again? How many nights have you gone to bed, slightly disappointed, telling yourself you will fix it tomorrow? Here is what most people never hear. You are not lazy. You are not weak. You simply never learned how habits actually work in the mind. Right now, people are overwhelmed. Short videos, constant notifications, stress, pressure to perform. Attention is broken. Discipline feels harder than ever. And bad habits are growing quietly in the background. This video is not about hype. It is about control. The Japanese system to breaking any bad habit is built on small daily shifts, emotional awareness, and simple rules that fit into real life. No extreme routines, no unrealistic promises, just practical psychology that works. If you want to stop feeling controlled by your impulses and start feeling proud of your choices again, stay with me. By the end, you will see your habits clearly, and you will know exactly how to take your power back. Chapter 1. Face the real reason behind your bad habit. Stand with me for a moment and think about the habit that has been holding you back. Not the one you joke about, not the one you blame on stress. The real one. The one that makes you feel disappointed in yourself when the day is over. The one that quietly steals your confidence. Here is the truth. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not lacking intelligence. You are human, and every bad habit has a reason behind it. The Japanese system to breaking any bad habit begins right here. Face the real reason behind your bad habit. Most people try to fight the habit itself. They fight the cigarette. They fight the phone. They fight the junk food. They fight procrastination. But they never stop to ask why. Why do I reach for this? Why do I keep repeating this pattern? Why does this behavior feel comforting even when it damages my future? Human behavior is not random. Every habit serves a purpose, even a bad one. It gives relief. It gives distraction. It gives comfort. It gives escape. It gives control. It fills a gap. If you do not face the reason, you will always return to the behavior. You can remove the object, but the need will still be there, and the mind will find another way to meet it. The Japanese approach to improvement is built on awareness and small, honest corrections. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is steady. It is thoughtful. It respects human nature. It understands that growth starts with truth. So stand still long enough to be honest with yourself. When you reach for your bad habit, pause, feel it. Notice what is happening inside your body. Is your chest tight? Are you tired? Are you bored? Are you lonely? Are you stressed? Are you feeling not good enough? Bad habits are often emotional responses. A person overeats not because of hunger, but because of emptiness. A person scrolls for hours, not because of curiosity but because of avoidance. A person procrastinates, not because of laziness but because of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being perfect. When you face the real reason, something powerful happens. The habit loses some of its control. You move from automatic behavior to conscious choice, and that shift changes everything. Picture this clearly. You are sitting alone at night. The house is quiet. The day did not go as planned. You feel disappointed. The urge comes. You know what it is. You can almost feel it in your hands. Before you act, you ask one simple question. What am I really feeling right now? You might discover you feel ignored. You might discover you feel overwhelmed. You might discover you feel tired and unappreciated. That moment of awareness is strength. That moment is growth. The Japanese system encourages reflection every single day, not in a complicated way, just a few minutes of honest thinking. At the end of the day, sit down with a notebook. Write one question. When did I feel the urge today? Then write the answer. Be specific. Do not judge yourself. Just observe. You will begin to see patterns. The urge appears when you argue with someone. The urge appears when you are alone. The urge appears after a long workday. Patterns are clues. Clues lead to understanding. Understanding leads to control. You cannot correct what you refuse to examine. Many people avoid this step because it is uncomfortable. Facing the real reason behind a bad habit often means facing pain. It means admitting you feel insecure. It means admitting you are angry. It means admitting you feel behind in life. But growth requires courage, and courage begins with honesty. There is power in saying to yourself, I am not eating because I am hungry. I am eating because I feel stressed. I am not scrolling because I need information. I am scrolling because I do not want to think about my responsibilities. I am not avoiding this task because it is hard. I am avoiding it because I am afraid of failing. When you name the truth, your brain shifts. You step out of denial. You step into responsibility. Responsibility is not punishment. Responsibility is freedom. It gives you options. Now you can respond differently. If the real reason is stress, then the solution is not willpower alone. The solution is better stress management. A walk outside, deep breathing, a real conversation with someone who listens, 10 quiet minutes with your thoughts. If the real reason is loneliness, then the solution is connection. A phone call, a message, joining a group, sitting near people instead of isolating yourself. If the real reason is fear of failure, then the solution is building small wins, breaking tasks into tiny steps, completing one small action, and feeling the satisfaction of progress. The Japanese way focuses on small changes. You do not need to fix your entire life today. You need to correct one moment, one decision, one reaction. Here is something important. Do not attack yourself. Shame does not create lasting change. Shame creates secrecy. Secrecy strengthens habits. Instead, treat yourself with firm respect. You are capable of better behavior. You simply need clarity and structure. When you face the real reason, you also face your identity. Ask yourself this: who am I becoming with this habit? Are you becoming stronger or weaker? Are you becoming reliable or inconsistent? Are you becoming confident or doubtful? Identity drives behavior. If you see yourself as someone who cannot control impulses, you will act that way. If you begin to see yourself as someone who is learning discipline, your actions will start to align with that belief. Change your self-talk. Instead of saying, I always mess this up, say, I am learning to handle this better. Instead of saying, I have no control, say, I am building control step by step. The brain listens to the words you repeat. The body follows the instructions you give it. Now feel the weight of this truth. Every time you avoid facing the real reason, the habit grows stronger. Every time you face it, even for a few seconds, you grow stronger. Growth is not dramatic. It is quiet. It happens in private moments. It happens when no one is watching. It happens when you choose to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is a signal. It is your mind asking for attention. It is your emotions asking to be understood. When you respond with awareness instead of reaction, you build self-trust. And self-trust is everything. Imagine waking up and feeling in control of your choices. Imagine going to bed proud of how you handled yourself. That feeling does not come from perfection. It comes from honesty. Face the real reason behind your bad habit, and you will notice something remarkable. The urge still appears, but it does not control you the same way. There is space between feeling and action. In that space lies your power. Slow down your reactions. When the urge hits, pause for 60 seconds. Breathe. Ask yourself what you are really needing. Is it rest? Is it reassurance? Is it relief? Then choose a response that serves your future. You are not fighting yourself. You are understanding yourself. That is a very different approach. The Japanese system teaches respect for process. Improvement is daily. Correction is daily. Reflection is daily. Reflection is daily. No drama. No extreme measures. Just steady progress. Each time you face the real reason, you train your mind to operate at a higher level. You build awareness. Awareness builds discipline. Discipline builds confidence. Confidence builds a better life. This is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming aware and responsible. It is about standing in front of your own reflection and saying, I see what is happening, and I am ready to change it. You deserve a life where your habits support your goals. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve the pride that comes from self-control. But that life begins with one decision. Face the truth. Look directly at the reason behind the behavior. Do not run from it. Do not excuse it. Do not blame your past. Understand it. Accept it. Then correct it. You have more strength than you think. You have more control than you believe. And once you start facing the real reasons, you will never see your habits the same way again. That is where real change begins. Chapter 2. Accept discomfort instead of running toward quick relief. There is a moment that decides the direction of your life. It is not a big public moment. It is not when people are watching. It is the quiet second when you feel discomfort rising inside you, and you have a choice. You can escape it, or you can face it. Most bad habits are built on one simple pattern. Something feels uncomfortable, and you rush to remove that feeling as fast as possible. Stress shows up, so you reach for food. Boredom shows up, so you grab your phone. Anxiety shows up, so you distract yourself. Fatigue shows up, so you quit early. The brain loves quick relief. It wants ease. It wants comfort. It wants the tension gone now. But here is the truth. Every time you run from discomfort, you train your mind to be weak. Every time you accept discomfort, you train your mind to be strong. Discomfort is not danger. It is sensation. It is pressure. It is restlessness in your chest. It is heat in your face. It is tension in your shoulders. It is a racing thought saying this feels bad. None of that can destroy you. Yet most people treat it like an emergency. The Japanese system of self-improvement teaches steady endurance. It respects patience. It values long-term results over instant relief. It understands that growth requires sitting with feelings that are not pleasant. Think about this clearly. When you try to break a bad habit, the first thing you feel is discomfort. The body is used to a certain reward. When that reward is missing, your system reacts. You feel irritated. You feel restless. You feel a pull toward the old behavior. That pull is not a command. It is simply a reaction. Your job is not to eliminate discomfort. Your job is to handle it with control. Picture yourself at the end of a long day. You are tired. Your head feels heavy. The old habit calls you. It promises relief. It promises that warm, familiar feeling. In that moment, your body almost moves on its own. That is the automatic pattern. Now slow it down. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your breathing. There is tension in your chest. There is a tightness in your jaw. You want the tension gone. Instead of reacting, you stay still. You allow the discomfort to exist. That decision builds character. Most people believe comfort equals happiness. That belief destroys discipline. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it often creates regret later. Discomfort feels unpleasant in the moment, but it often creates pride later. Pride is earned. Regret is avoided too late. When you accept discomfort, you send a message to your brain. You say, I am in charge here. You say, I can handle this sensation. You say, I do not need instant relief to survive. That message changes your identity. Discomfort shows up in many forms. It appears when you wake up early, and your body wants to stay in bed. It appears when you sit down to work, and your mind wants distraction. It appears when you want to speak up, but feel nervous. It appears when you try to exercise, and your muscles start to burn. The easy path is always available. The harder path requires awareness. Here is something powerful to understand. Discomfort comes in waves. It rises, it peaks, it falls. If you can ride the wave without reacting, it loses strength. Most urges last only a few minutes if you do not feed them. When you rush to quick relief, you cut off the wave early and reward the escape. Your brain learns that discomfort must be removed immediately. That learning creates addiction to ease. Instead, sit with the wave. Notice how it changes. The intensity shifts. The body adjusts. You realize you can survive the feeling. This is not about suffering for no reason. This is about building tolerance. The ability to tolerate discomfort is the foundation of discipline. Look at people who achieve meaningful results. They tolerate boredom while practicing. They tolerate frustration while learning. They tolerate fatigue while training. They tolerate doubt while pursuing goals. They are not free from discomfort. They are skilled at handling it. You can build that skill. Start small. When you feel the urge to escape through a habit, delay your response. Tell yourself you will wait 10 minutes. During those 10 minutes, breathe slowly. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. Let your body settle. Do not argue with yourself. Just wait. Those 10 minutes train your nervous system. They stretch your tolerance. They show you that you are stronger than the urge. Another powerful practice is changing your interpretation of discomfort. Instead of labeling it as bad, label it as growth. When your muscles shake during exercise, that shaking means they are adapting. When your mind feels tired while studying, that tiredness means you are expanding your capacity. Discomfort can be evidence of progress. The Japanese philosophy values steady effort. It does not celebrate dramatic bursts, followed by collapse. It respects consistency. Consistency requires accepting that not every moment will feel pleasant. Feel the difference between temporary discomfort and long-term pain. Temporary discomfort is the unease of saying no to your habit. Long-term pain is the regret of staying stuck for years. One lasts minutes, the other lasts much longer. When you choose quick relief, you trade a short moment of ease for extended disappointment. When you choose to sit with discomfort, you trade a short moment of tension for extended pride. Your future self is watching your current decision. There will be moments when discomfort feels intense. Your heart beats faster. Your thoughts become loud. You may feel restless or irritated. That is normal. Do not panic. The body is adjusting to a new pattern. Talk to yourself with calm authority. Say, I can handle this feeling. It will pass. I do not need to escape. These words guide your mind back to control. Physical movement can help you manage discomfort without falling into old habits. Stand up. Walk outside. Splash cold water on your face. Stretch your arms and shoulders. Engage your body in a healthy way. Movement releases tension and clears your head. Another important point is environment. Remove easy access to quick relief. If the distraction is not in front of you, You have more time to think. Time creates space. Space creates better decisions. Accepting discomfort also builds emotional maturity. Instead of blaming circumstances, you take responsibility for your reactions. Instead of demanding ease, you choose growth. You may notice something surprising. The more you accept discomfort, the less frightening it becomes. Your tolerance increases. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable. What once triggered immediate action becomes a minor sensation. That is progress. Life will always include discomfort, work pressure, relationship challenges, physical fatigue, uncertainty about the future. If you train yourself to escape every uncomfortable feeling, you will always be chasing relief. If you train yourself to handle discomfort, you gain stability. Stability creates confidence. Confidence is not loud. It is quiet assurance that you can handle difficult moments. It is built through repeated decisions to stay present when things feel hard. There is strength in staying. Staying with the task. Staying with the feeling. Staying with the process. When you sit with discomfort instead of running from it, you experience a deep sense of control. You realize that you are not controlled by every impulse. You realize that urges are temporary visitors, not permanent rulers. Feel the weight of that understanding. You are not your discomfort. You are the person observing it. Each time you resist quick relief, you strengthen a mental muscle. At first it feels weak. It shakes. It doubts. But with repetition it grows. You begin to notice pride building inside you. Not loud pride. Quiet pride. The kind that shows up when you look at yourself in the mirror and know you handled the day with discipline. This is how habits break, not through dramatic force, not through anger at yourself, through steady acceptance of discomfort. The Japanese system teaches respect for gradual improvement. One moment at a time, one decision at a time, one urge at a time. There will be days when you slip. That is part of being human. Do not collapse into shame. Study the moment. Understand what felt overwhelming. Adjust. Continue. Growth is not perfect. It is persistent. Imagine a year from now. You face stress with calm breathing. You face boredom with productive action. You face anxiety with steady focus. You no longer run at the first sign of discomfort. You stand firm. That version of you is created by daily choices. Accept discomfort instead of running toward quick relief. That sentence is simple. Living it requires courage. But the reward is powerful. You gain self-respect. You gain clarity. You gain control. When discomfort appears today, do not treat it as an enemy. Treat it as training. It is giving you an opportunity to strengthen your discipline. Stay with the feeling. Breathe through it. Let it rise and fall. Choose action based on your values, not your impulses. This is how you break bad habits at the root. This is how you build a stronger mind. This is how you move from reacting to leading your own life. And when you can handle discomfort, there is very little that can stop you. Chapter 3. Delay urges for 5 minutes and regain control. There is a small space between feeling an urge and acting on it. Most people never notice that space. The urge appears, and action follows almost instantly. It feels automatic. It feels natural. It feels unstoppable. But that is not true. There is always a gap, and inside that gap lies your control. When you are trying to break a bad habit, the urge can feel intense. It shows up suddenly. Your body reacts. Your thoughts start pushing you. You feel pulled toward the behavior. At that moment, it feels like you must respond right now. That sense of urgency is powerful. It creates pressure in your chest. It creates restlessness in your hands. It creates a voice in your mind that says, "Do it now." Here is the strategy. Do nothing for 5 minutes. 5 minutes sounds simple. It sounds almost too small to matter, but those 5 minutes can change the direction of your life. The Japanese system of improvement focuses on small controlled actions. It does not demand extreme willpower for hours. It asks for discipline in short moments. 5 minutes is a short moment. Anyone can manage 5 minutes. When the urge appears, look at the clock. Tell yourself clearly that you will wait 5 minutes before making any decision. Not tomorrow, not next week, just 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes create distance between impulse and action. During that time, your job is not to fight yourself aggressively. Your job is to observe. Notice what is happening in your body. Is your heart beating faster? Is your breathing shallow? Are your thoughts racing? Simply observe. When you delay, you shift from being controlled by the urge to studying the urge. That shift builds awareness. Awareness builds authority over your behavior. Many urges feel stronger than they truly are because they move fast. They demand immediate attention. When you slow down, you reduce their power. Think about a time when you reacted quickly and later regretted it. The action felt urgent in the moment. After a short time, the intensity faded. That is how urges work. They spike. They settle. They pass. 5 minutes is often enough for the spike to weaken. Your brain is wired to seek quick rewards. It wants satisfaction now. When you delay, you interrupt that reward cycle. You teach your brain that immediate action is not required. You teach it patience. Patience is not weakness. Patience is strength, under control. In those 5 minutes, breathe deeply. Slow your breathing intentionally. Count your breaths if necessary. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel it leaving. This simple act calms your nervous system. A calmer body supports better decisions. Another powerful practice during those minutes is asking one clear question. What will I feel after I give in to this urge? Not what will I feel during it, after it. Picture the moment clearly. The temporary pleasure fades. What remains? Relief for a short time, or disappointment? Does it move you closer to your goals or further away? That question brings your future into the present. You are not denying yourself forever. You are choosing to wait. Waiting reduces emotional intensity. Strong emotions often drive bad decisions. When the emotion lowers, logic returns. 5 minutes may not eliminate every urge completely. That is not the goal. The goal is to regain control. Even if you still feel the urge after 5 minutes, you have proven something important. You have proven that you can pause. That proof builds confidence. Confidence grows through small wins. Each time you successfully delay, you strengthen your discipline. Your brain begins to expect a pause before action. That pause becomes a habit itself, a habit of reflection. This method works because urges are often short-lived. They rise quickly, but rarely stay at peak intensity for long. When you wait, you ride out the most intense part. Picture the urge like a surge of energy in your body. It feels uncomfortable. It demands release. If you react immediately, you train your system to depend on that release. If you sit still, the energy shifts on its own. It is important to understand that the urge is not you. It is a sensation. It is a pattern. It is a learned response. You are the one observing it. Say to yourself calmly, "This is an urge, not a command." That sentence changes the dynamic. You are no longer obeying automatically. You are choosing consciously. There will be moments when 5 minutes feel long. Your mind will argue. It will create excuses. It will say just this once. It will promise you that you will do better tomorrow. Recognize those thoughts without following them. Thoughts are not orders. They are suggestions. During the waiting period, engage in a small physical action that supports your goal. Stand up, drink water, step outside for fresh air, wash your face. These simple movements shift your state and give your mind something new to focus on. This technique is powerful because it is practical. It does not require perfect motivation. It does not require dramatic changes. It requires one decision. Wait 5 minutes. Over time, those 5 minutes build mental endurance. You start noticing that you can tolerate discomfort without reacting. You start trusting yourself more. Self-trust is built through kept promises. When you promise to wait and you follow through, even for writhing minutes, you build credibility with yourself. That credibility becomes the foundation of discipline. There is also a deeper psychological shift happening. When you delay, you strengthen the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and self-control. You weaken the automatic impulse pathway. This is how habits change at a neurological level. Repetition rewires patterns. You are training your brain every time you pause. Some days the urge will return multiple times. That is normal. Each time, apply the same rule. Wait 5 minutes. You may need to repeat it several times. That repetition is practice. Practice creates mastery. Understand that control is not about suppressing emotions aggressively. It is about responding thoughtfully. Delaying gives you space to think. Imagine the sense of pride when you realize that something which once controlled you now waits for your permission. That is freedom. Freedom does not mean doing whatever you feel like. Freedom means choosing your actions deliberately. 5 minutes is a small investment for long-term change. You may notice that as you practice this method, the intensity of urges decreases over weeks. They still appear, but they do not dominate your attention. Your mind becomes steadier. That steadiness affects other areas of your life. You become less reactive in conversation. You become more patient with challenges. You become more focused on tasks. The discipline you build in one area spreads to others. This is how personal growth works. One small skill improves your entire character. When you wake up tomorrow, remember this simple rule. You are not required to act on every urge immediately. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to think. You are allowed to choose. Those 5 minutes represent control over your impulses. They represent respect for your goals. They represent a commitment to your future. If you slip one day, do not abandon the strategy. Study what happened. Were you tired? Were you stressed? Adjust your environment. Continue practicing the delay. Persistence matters more than perfection. Each day you apply this rule, you are building a stronger version of yourself, a version that does not surrender instantly, a version that values long-term progress over short-term pleasure. Delay the urge for 5 minutes, and you reclaim your authority. You move from reaction to intention. You step into leadership over your own behavior. It starts with 5 minutes. It grows into a new identity. And once you realize that you can pause and choose differently, you will never see your impulses the same way again. Chapter 4. Change your identity before you change behavior. Most people try to change their habits by forcing new actions. They set rules. They make promises. They create plans. For a few days they follow through. Then something pulls them back to the old pattern. They feel confused. They say they lack discipline. They say they need more motivation. But the real issue sits deeper. Behavior follows identity. If you still see yourself as the same person who always quits, always delays, always gives in, then your actions will quietly match that belief. You may attempt new routines, but your inner story will pull you back to what feels familiar. The Japanese system of improvement understands something powerful. Lasting change begins from the inside. It begins with who you believe you are. Ask yourself honestly, who do I think I am when it comes to this habit? Do you say I am just someone who cannot wake up early? Do you say I am terrible with money? Do you say I have no willpower around food? Do you say I am always distracted? Those sentences shape your future. They are not facts. They are repeated thoughts that turned into beliefs. When you identify as a certain type of person, your brain looks for evidence to confirm it. If you believe you are undisciplined, You will notice every moment of weakness and ignore every small success. If you believe you are capable of growth, you will notice your progress and build on it. To break a bad habit, you must upgrade your identity first. This does not mean lying to yourself. It means choosing a higher standard for who you are becoming. It means saying, I am learning to be disciplined. I am becoming more focused. I am building self-control. I am a person who keeps promises to myself. Notice the difference. You are not claiming perfection. You are claiming direction. Your identity is shaped by repeated actions, but it is also shaped by repeated words. The way you speak about yourself matters deeply. Your mind listens carefully to your own voice. If you constantly describe yourself as weak, you train your brain to act weak. If you describe yourself as responsible and improving, you give your brain a new script to follow. Take a quiet moment and write down the identity that supports the life you want. Be clear. For example, I am a person who respects my health. I am someone who finishes what I eat. I am a person who handles stress calmly. I am someone who values long-term success over short-term pleasure. Read those statements every morning, not casually. Read them with intention. Feel the weight of them. This practice may feel uncomfortable at first. That discomfort means you are stretching beyond your old self-image. Identity change requires repetition. The old story about yourself has been repeated for years. It will not disappear overnight. But every time you choose a new belief and support it with action, you weaken the old one. Here is where the Japanese principle of steady improvement becomes powerful. You do not need dramatic changes to build a new identity. You need small, consistent actions that confirm it. If you want to see yourself as disciplined, wake up 5 minutes earlier and follow through. If you want to see yourself as healthy, choose one better meal today. If you want to see yourself as focused, work without distraction for 15 minutes. Each small action is evidence. Evidence builds belief. Your brain is constantly asking, who am I? It answers that question by looking at your behavior. When your behavior aligns with your chosen identity, confidence grows naturally. There is also something deeper happening. When you change identity first, your standards rise. Standards shape decisions. If you believe you are someone who respects yourself, you will hesitate before engaging in behavior that lowers your self-respect. This is not about guilt. It is about alignment. Imagine two people facing the same temptation. One thinks, I am trying to quit this habit. The other thinks, I am not the kind of person who does this anymore. The second person has a stronger internal foundation. The behavior does not match their self-image. Start using language that reflects your new identity. Instead of saying, I am trying to stop wasting time, say, I am becoming someone who values my time. Instead of saying, I hope I can change, say, I am building change step by step. The words you choose shape your mindset. Another powerful strategy is surrounding yourself with reminders of your chosen identity. Keep your environment aligned with who you are becoming. If you want to be organized, keep your space clean. If you want to be focused, remove distractions from your workspace. If you want to be healthy, place healthy options within reach. Your surroundings should support your identity, not fight against it. It is important to understand that identity is not fixed. Many people carry labels from childhood or past failures. They say, I have always been this way. That belief keeps them stuck. You are not your past patterns. You are a human being capable of growth. The brain adapts. The body adapts. Your character adapts when you decide to lead it intentionally. There will be moments when your old identity tries to resurface. You may hear an internal voice saying, this is not you. You may feel doubt. That is normal. Change feels unfamiliar at first. In those moments, remind yourself of your commitment. Say, I am not defined by old habits. I am defined by the choices I make today. Consistency matters more than intensity. One small action repeated daily carries more weight than one dramatic effort followed by collapse. Over time, you will notice something powerful. The new behavior will start to feel natural. Waking up earlier will not feel forced. Choosing healthier options will not feel like a battle. Staying focused will feel normal. That shift happens because your identity has changed. When identity shifts, behavior follows automatically. This approach also builds resilience. If you slip once, you do not fall into shame. You say, this action does not match who I am becoming. Then you correct it. You do not question your entire worth. You return to your standard. Standards create stability. Think about the person you admire most. They are not admired for one action. They are admired for one action. They are admired for consistent character. Character is identity expressed through behavior. You are building character each day. The Japanese system teaches respect for daily practice. Identity is strengthened through daily reinforcement. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is steady. Each morning, choose your identity. Each day, act in small ways that confirm it. Each night, reflect on whether your actions aligned with who you want to be. Reflection deepens awareness. Awareness strengthens identity. When you truly change how you see yourself, temptation loses some of its power. You no longer feel like you are fighting yourself. You feel like you are protecting your standard. There is dignity in that. Imagine walking through your day with quiet confidence. You are not easily shaken by urges. You are not easily distracted by quick pleasure. You are guided by a clear sense of who you are. That clarity gives direction to your actions. Change your identity before you change behavior. That sentence carries weight. It means looking at yourself honestly and choosing a higher version. It means deciding that you are capable of discipline. It means believing that you deserve better habits. It means accepting responsibility for your growth. No one else can assign you a stronger identity. It is a personal decision. You are not trapped by who you have been. You are shaped by who you decide to become. Start today. Define the person you want to be. Support that definition with small daily actions. Speak about yourself with respect. Protect your standards. Adjust when necessary. Continue forward. Over time, the new identity will feel solid. It will guide your behavior naturally. The old habit will no longer fit who you are. That is how real transformation happens, from the inside out.
Chapter 5. Break emotional triggers by naming what you feel. There is a powerful moment that most people overlook when they are trying to break a bad habit. It is not the habit itself. It is the feeling that comes right before it. Every habit is connected to an emotion, not sometimes, every single time. You do not just reach for your phone. You feel something first. You do not just overeat. You feel something first. You do not just avoid your responsibilities. You feel something first. That feeling is the trigger. If you never learn to recognize it, you will always feel controlled by your behavior. But if you learn to name what you feel, you weaken the trigger immediately. Human beings often act before they understand what is happening inside them. The emotion rises quickly. It moves through the body. It creates tension. It creates restlessness. It creates mental noise. Instead of pausing, most people react. They search for relief. The Japanese system of self-improvement emphasizes awareness, not dramatic reactions, not emotional explosions, calm observation, quiet correction. When you name what you feel, you move from confusion to clarity. Think about a common situation. Someone criticizes you. Your chest tightens. Your stomach feels uneasy. Your thoughts start racing. Within minutes,
You are reaching for your usual coping habit. Maybe you distract yourself. Maybe you eat. Maybe you shut down. But what if you paused and asked one simple question? What am I feeling right now? You might say, I feel embarrassed, or I feel rejected, or I feel angry, or I feel insecure. That sentence changes everything. When emotions are unnamed, they feel overwhelming. They feel like a storm without direction. When emotions are named, they become specific. Specific feelings are easier to handle. The brain responds differently when you label an emotion. It reduces intensity. It creates distance between you and the feeling. You are no longer drowning in it. You are observing it. Instead of saying this is unbearable, you say this is frustration. Instead of saying I cannot handle this, you say this is disappointment. Those words bring structure to chaos. Most bad habits are emotional escape routes. You are not chasing pleasure as much as you are avoiding discomfort. Stress pushes you. Boredom pushes you. Loneliness pushes you. Anxiety pushes you. When you learn to identify these emotions quickly, you interrupt the automatic pattern. Here is a practical exercise. Throughout your day, check in with yourself every few hours. Ask quietly, what am I feeling right now? Do not overthink it. Use simple words. Calm, tired, irritated, excited, worried, content. This practice strengthens emotional awareness. Many people struggle because they were never taught how to recognize emotions clearly. They were taught to ignore them or suppress them. But suppressed emotions do not disappear. They find expression through habits. When you name an emotion, you give it attention without surrendering control. Imagine you feel a sudden urge to give in to an old pattern. Instead of moving immediately, pause and scan your body. Notice your breathing. Notice your shoulders. Notice your facial muscles. Then describe the emotion in one word. That word might be stressed, or restless, or lonely, or overwhelmed. Once you identify it, the next step is to accept it without judgment. Say to yourself, I feel stressed right now. That is okay. Stress is part of being human. I do not need to escape it immediately. Acceptance reduces resistance. Resistance often intensifies emotion. Another important truth is that emotions are temporary. They move through you like waves. They rise, they peak, they settle. When you act on them instantly, you strengthen their connection to certain behaviors. When you observe them calmly, you weaken that link. Naming emotions also helps you choose a better response. If you identify boredom, perhaps you need meaningful engagement rather than mindless distraction. If you identify loneliness, perhaps you need connection rather than isolation. If you identify anxiety, perhaps you need preparation or rest rather than avoidance. Emotions contain information. They signal needs. The Japanese philosophy of steady growth respects this process. It does not demand that you eliminate emotions. It teaches you to understand them. Think about the last time you reacted without thinking. Later, when you reflected, you probably realized you were tired or upset about something unrelated. Awareness after the fact is helpful. Awareness in the moment is powerful. Emotional triggers lose strength when they are brought into the light. There is also something deeply human about naming what you feel. It builds self-respect. It shows maturity. It shows that you are willing to understand yourself rather than run from yourself. Many people are uncomfortable with certain emotions. They do not want to admit jealousy. They do not want to admit insecurity. They do not want to admit fear. But avoiding those words does not remove the emotion. Courage begins with honesty. If you feel jealous, say it quietly. If you feel insecure, admit it. If you feel afraid, acknowledge it. Naming does not mean weakness. It means clarity. Clarity gives you options. You cannot solve a problem you refuse to define. Another helpful practice is writing your emotions down. Keep a small notebook. When you feel a strong urge connected to your habit,
Write the date and the emotion. Over time you will notice patterns. Perhaps your habit appears mostly when you feel overwhelmed. Perhaps it appears when you feel bored late at night. Patterns reveal triggers. Triggers can be managed. Once you understand your common emotional triggers, you can prepare healthier responses in advance. If stress is a frequent trigger, build short, calming routines into your day. If loneliness is common, schedule regular contact with supportive people. Preparation reduces vulnerability. It is important to remember that emotions are not commands. They are signals. You decide how to respond. When you name what you feel, you slow down your reaction time. That pause creates space for better choices. Space is where discipline grows. There will be moments when emotions feel intense. You may feel heat in your body. You may feel pressure in your head. In those moments, focus on breathing slowly and naming the feeling clearly. For example, I feel anxious about this conversation. I feel disappointed about how today went. I feel irritated because I am tired. The act of labeling engages the thinking part of your brain. That engagement reduces emotional intensity. Over time, this skill becomes natural. You start recognizing emotions earlier. You start responding with intention rather than impulse. Breaking emotional triggers is not about suppressing feelings. It is about understanding them and choosing actions aligned with your goals. When you practice this daily, you become emotionally stable. You do not swing wildly between reaction and regret. You handle situations with awareness. Emotional stability strengthens character. You will also notice increased compassion toward yourself. Instead of criticizing yourself for having urges, you understand the emotion behind them. You treat yourself firmly but fairly. That balance is powerful. Imagine facing a difficult moment and calmly saying, I feel stressed, and that is why the urge is here. Then choosing to breathe and take a healthier action. That decision builds confidence. Confidence grows when you handle your internal world effectively. Each time you name what you feel, you break the automatic chain between emotion and habit. You create a new chain between emotion and thoughtful action. This is not complicated. It is simple, but it requires attention. Pay attention to your feelings. Speak them clearly. Accept them without shame. Choose responses that respect your future. Emotions will always be part of your life. You cannot remove them, but you can learn to work with them instead of being controlled by them. Break emotional triggers by naming what you feel. That practice may seem small, but it carries deep impact. It builds awareness. It builds maturity. It builds control. When you understand your emotions, your habits lose their grip. You move from reaction to responsibility. You move from confusion to clarity. And with clarity comes power over your own behavior.
Chapter 6. Lower daily friction for the habits you want. Most people rely on motivation to build good habits. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until they feel inspired. They wait until the mood is right. Then they act. When the mood disappears, the habit disappears with it. That approach keeps you stuck. If you want to build habits that last, you must make them easy to start. You must lower the daily friction that stands between you and the action you want. Friction is anything that makes a habit harder than it needs to be. It is the extra step, the extra decision, the extra effort. It is small, but it matters. Human behavior follows the path of least resistance. At the end of a long day, your brain will choose what is simple. If your good habit requires effort to begin, and your bad habit is effortless, you already know what will happen. The Japanese system of steady improvement respects simplicity. It understands that small adjustments in your environment can shape your actions without constant struggle. Look at your daily routine honestly. If you want to exercise but your workout clothes are buried in a drawer, you have added friction. If you want to read but your books are hidden while your phone is always in your hand, you have added friction. If you want to eat healthier but unhealthy snacks are visible on your counter, you have added friction to the right choice. You do not need more willpower, you need better design.
Lowering friction means preparing in advance so that good behavior feels natural and accessible. If you want to wake up early, set your clothes out the night before. Place your alarm across the room so you must stand up. Keep a glass of water ready. Make the first step clear and easy. If you want to work with focus, prepare your workspace before you begin. Clear your desk. Open only the necessary tools. Remove distractions from sight. When you sit down, there should be no confusion about what to do. Clarity reduces hesitation. Many habits fail because the starting point feels unclear or overwhelming. When the brain sees complexity, it delays. When the brain sees simplicity, it moves. Break your habit into the smallest possible action. If you want to write daily, start with opening your notebook. If you want to meditate, start with sitting quietly for 1 minute. If you want to study, start with reviewing 1 page. Starting is often the hardest part. Once you begin, momentum builds. Lower friction by removing decisions. Decisions drain mental energy. The more choices you face, the more likely you are to postpone action. Create routines that remove uncertainty. Decide in advance what time you will practice your habit. Decide where you will do it. Decide how long you will commit. When the time arrives, you simply follow the plan. This approach reduces internal debate. Another powerful way to lower friction is linking a new habit to something you already do. After brushing your teeth, stretch for 2 minutes. After pouring your morning coffee, read 1 page. After finishing lunch, take a short walk. Attaching habits to existing routines increases consistency because the cue is already part of your life. Make your good habits visible. Place your journal on your desk. Keep your workout shoes near the door. Keep healthy food at eye level. Visual reminders trigger action without effort. At the same time, remove easy access to distractions. The fewer obstacles between you and a bad habit, the harder it is to resist. Increase distance from behaviors you want to avoid, and reduce distance from behaviors you want to build. Your environment influences you more than you realize. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow so you see it before bed. If you want to practice gratitude, keep a notebook on your nightstand. If you want to stay organized, keep storage containers clearly labeled and accessible. These changes seem small, but small changes repeated daily create large results. Energy management is another form of lowering friction. If you try to build a new habit when you are exhausted, resistance increases. Schedule important habits during times when your energy is naturally higher. Know your rhythm. Some people focus best in the morning. Others feel sharper in the afternoon. Align your habits with your energy. Also, remove unnecessary complexity. If your plan requires perfect conditions, it will fail. Create a version of your habit that works even on busy days. If you want to exercise for 30 minutes but feel pressed for time, commit to 5 minutes. If you want to cook healthy meals but feel overwhelmed, prepare simple options. Consistency matters more than intensity. Perfection creates pressure. Simplicity creates momentum. Another strategy is preparing for obstacles before they appear. Ask yourself what might stop you. Then reduce that obstacle now. If rain often prevents you from walking, have an indoor option ready. If meetings interrupt your schedule, block specific times in advance. Preparation lowers resistance. Many people think discipline means forcing yourself to do difficult things every day. True discipline often means designing your life so the right choice is the easy choice. Look around your living space. Is it set up to support your goals or distract you from them? Rearrange it with intention. Move items that represent your goals into visible positions. Store distractions out of reach. You are shaping your daily experience through design. Lowering friction also includes mental preparation. Instead of telling yourself that your new habit is hard, tell yourself it is manageable. Your perception affects your willingness to begin. If you view the task as overwhelming, you delay. If you view it as small and achievable, you act. Break big goals into daily actions that feel reasonable. Progress happens through repetition, not through dramatic effort. When you remove friction, you remove excuses. You eliminate the small barriers that quietly stop you. You reduce the gap between intention and action. Over time, the habit feels automatic. It becomes part of your routine rather than a struggle. This approach respects human psychology. The brain avoids unnecessary effort. If you make good habits convenient, your brain cooperates. You are not trying to prove your strength through constant struggle. You are building a system that supports growth naturally. Notice how you feel when a task is easy to start. There is less tension, less hesitation, more flow. That feeling encourages repetition. Repetition builds identity. If you want to see yourself as consistent, create conditions that make consistency realistic. Remove the extra steps. Remove the extra steps. Remove the confusion. Remove the clutter. Even small adjustments can have large impact. Setting out a notebook, charging your headphones, preparing meals in advance, scheduling time clearly. These actions reduce friction quietly, but powerfully. Your future behavior is shaped by today's setup. Lowering friction is not about laziness. It is about wisdom. It is about understanding that your environment influences your action. When you design your life thoughtfully, you reduce the need for constant willpower. Willpower is limited. Structure is reliable. Each day, ask yourself how you can make your desired habit easier to begin. What can you prepare tonight that will help you tomorrow? What can you remove that slows you down? Small preparation creates steady progress. You do not need to change everything at once. Choose one habit. Adjust your environment to support it. Practice consistently. Once it becomes stable, move to the next. Growth does not require drama, it requires design. Lower daily friction for the habits you want and you will notice something powerful. Resistance decreases. Action increases. Confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself because you have built a system that works. When the right behavior becomes the easiest behavior, change feels natural. Discipline becomes smoother. Progress becomes steady. And steady progress is what transforms your life.
Chapter 7. Raise daily friction for the habits you hate. Most bad habits survive because they are easy. They are within reach. They require no planning. They ask for no effort. They sit close to you, waiting for a moment of weakness. When stress rises or boredom hits, the behavior is right there, ready to be repeated. If you truly want to break a habit you hate, stop depending only on inner strength. Change the conditions around you. Make the unwanted behavior harder to access. Increase the effort required. Add obstacles between you and the action. Human beings follow convenience. When something is simple and available, it gets repeated. When something requires effort and delay, it loses appeal. This is not about punishment. It is about strategy. Think about the habit you want gone. Maybe it is endless scrolling. Maybe it is overeating late at night. Maybe it is gambling. Maybe it is wasting hours on distractions. Ask yourself one honest question. How easy have I made this behavior? If your phone is always in your hand, scrolling is easy. If junk food is in your kitchen, overeating is easy. If entertainment is one click away, while your work is hidden behind effort, distraction is easy. Ease feeds repetition. The Japanese approach to improvement respects structure. It understands that behavior follows design. If you want to reduce a habit, Increase the resistance around it. Start with physical distance. Move the object away. If your phone distracts you, leave it in another room while you work. If snacks tempt you at night, remove them from your home. If certain apps waste your time, delete them or log out so you must enter passwords every time. Adding a small inconvenience reduces impulse. The brain loves immediate reward. When you add steps, you create space for thought. That space gives you time to reconsider. For example, if you have to stand up, walk across the room, and unlock a drawer before engaging in a habit, you interrupt the automatic pattern. That interruption weakens the behavior over time. Delay reduces intensity. Another powerful method is financial friction. If a habit costs money, increase the cost. Set up accountability. Tell someone you trust about your goal, and agree on consequences if you break your commitment. When there is something at stake, the mind becomes more cautious. Accountability adds pressure in a healthy way. You can also limit access by changing your schedule. If late night hours trigger bad habits, go to bed earlier. If certain environments tempt you, avoid them for a while. There is strength in removing yourself from situations that weaken your discipline. You are not proving toughness by constantly exposing yourself to temptation. You are building strength by controlling your environment. Make the habit inconvenient. Increase the effort required. Increase the time required. Increase the awareness required. If you waste time online, install website blockers during work hours. If you overspend, leave your credit cards at home. If you overeat while watching television, stop eating in front of screens. These adjustments seem small, but they change behavior patterns significantly. Raise friction through preparation. If you know you are vulnerable during certain emotional states, create rules in advance. For example, no phone use after a certain hour, no ordering food late at night, no social media during work hours. Rules remove negotiation. When you must think before acting, the automatic cycle weakens. Consider also increasing the effort of starting the habit. If smoking is a problem, do not keep cigarettes within reach. If gaming consumes your time, unplug the console after each use. If you struggle with alcohol, remove it from your home completely. Convenience keeps habits alive. Inconvenience challenges them. There is another level to raising friction. Change your identity around the habit. If you see yourself as someone trying to quit, you remain attached to it. If you see yourself as someone who does not engage in that behavior anymore, you add mental resistance. Mental friction is powerful. Create visible reminders of your commitment. Place notes where you normally engage in the habit. Short statements that remind you who you are becoming. When you see those words, you slow down. Slowing down reduces impulse. Time is your ally in breaking bad habits. The Japanese system values steady correction. You do not need dramatic punishment. You need consistent boundaries. If your habit thrives in privacy, bring it into the light. Track it honestly. Write down each time it happens. When you see the pattern clearly, it becomes less appealing. Awareness creates discomfort, and discomfort reduces repetition. Track frequency. Track timing. Track triggers. Make the behavior visible instead of hidden. Visibility adds friction, because you cannot ignore the truth. Another approach is increasing the physical effort required. If you are tempted to snack, keep food stored in containers that require preparation. If you binge watch shows, disconnect streaming services and require login each time. If you gamble online, block access through software. Extra steps create pause. The pause is where choice returns. You must also examine emotional friction. What feelings make the habit easy to justify? Stress, boredom, loneliness. When those emotions appear, plan alternative actions in advance. When stress hits, go for a short walk. When boredom appears, read or call someone. When loneliness rises,
Seek connection rather than isolation. Preparation reduces vulnerability. Remember that your brain seeks efficiency. It chooses the path that requires less effort. By increasing effort for the habit you dislike, you change the equation. Over time, your brain stops seeking that behavior because it no longer feels easy or rewarding. Consistency matters here. One day of raised friction will not break the pattern. Repeated inconvenience weakens the routine gradually. There will be moments when you try to negotiate with yourself. You may say this once will not matter. Recognize that thought as part of the old pattern. Stick to your structure. Structure protects discipline. It is also helpful to adjust your environment socially. If certain people encourage your unwanted habit, limit exposure. Spend more time around individuals who respect your goals. Social influence affects behavior more than most people admit. Choose environments that support your standards. When you make a habit inconvenient, you create space for reflection. That reflection strengthens your self-control. Instead of reacting automatically, you evaluate. Each evaluation builds awareness. Over weeks and months, you will notice that the habit loses its pull. It becomes less appealing because it requires effort. Effort reduces impulse. Impulse weakens without reinforcement. This is not about creating misery. It is about creating boundaries. Boundaries protect your future. When you respect yourself enough to increase friction around destructive habits, you send a powerful message. You say, my long-term growth matters more than short-term comfort. That message strengthens character. You are not fighting yourself aggressively. You are guiding yourself intelligently. Look at your daily routine and identify one habit you want to eliminate. Ask what makes it easy. Remove that ease. Add steps. Add distance. Add accountability. Add structure. Small obstacles create big change over time. When the habit becomes harder to access, you naturally engage in it less. With less repetition, the pattern fades. Your energy then becomes available for better behaviors. Raise daily friction for the habits you hate, and you take control of your environment. When you control your environment, you influence your actions. When you influence your actions, you reshape your future. This approach is practical. It is strategic. It respects how human psychology works. You are building a life where the right choices are easier, and the wrong choices require effort. That design creates lasting change. Chapter 8. Reward effort, not results, to rewire your brain. One of the biggest reasons people give up on change is this simple mistake. They only feel good about themselves when they see results. If the scale drops, they feel proud. If the numbers improve, they feel confident. If progress shows clearly, they stay motivated. But when results are slow, invisible, or inconsistent, their energy collapses. That pattern quietly destroys long-term growth. If you want to toe a bad habit and build a stronger life, you must train your brain to value effort more than outcomes. You must feel satisfaction from showing up, not just from winning. Results are delayed. Effort is immediate. When you focus only on results, you create emotional instability. One good day makes you feel successful. One setback makes you feel like a failure. Your mood rises and falls based on outcomes you cannot fully control. But effort is always within your control. The Japanese system of steady improvement respects process. It teaches that small, consistent actions matter more than dramatic achievements. It emphasizes discipline over applause. Think about a simple example. You decide to wake up earlier. The first morning, you succeed. The second morning, you feel tired but still get up. The third morning, you struggle and snooze once before rising. If you judge yourself only by perfection, you feel disappointed. But if you reward the effort of trying, of standing up even after snoozing, you build momentum. The brain responds to reward.
What you reward gets repeated. If you only celebrate visible success, your brain learns that effort without instant payoff is not valuable. It starts avoiding tasks where results are uncertain. That avoidance strengthens bad habits. Instead, begin praising yourself for the action itself. You exercise today, that matters, even if your body has not changed yet. You studied for an hour, that matters, even if your test score has not improved yet. You resisted a bad habit once. That matters, even if the habit is not completely gone. When you acknowledge effort, you create internal reinforcement. The brain releases positive chemicals when you recognize achievement. You do not need external praise. You need honest acknowledgement from yourself. After completing a small disciplined action, pause and say quietly, "I showed up today." That is progress. Feel the weight of that statement. Let it register. This practice builds resilience. Many people quit because they do not see quick transformation. They expect dramatic change in weeks. When it does not happen, they assume they are failing. In reality, the foundation is being built slowly. Roots grow before visible results appear. If you focus on effort, you detach your motivation from external validation. You create internal stability. For example, imagine you are trying to reduce screen time. One day, you cut your usage by 30 minutes. That may not feel dramatic, but it represents conscious effort. Recognize that. Write it down. Acknowledge the improvement. Over time, your brain begins associating effort with satisfaction. That association rewires your behavior patterns. Rewarding effort also reduces fear of failure. If you only value results, you hesitate to try difficult tasks because you fear not succeeding. When you value effort, you are willing to attempt challenging goals because showing up already counts. This mindset builds courage. Another important truth is that results often depend on factors outside your control. Effort depends only on your decision. You cannot control how fast your body changes. You cannot control how others respond to your work. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control whether you show up. When you finish a day aligned with your effort goals, you sleep with pride. That pride strengthens discipline. Consider keeping a daily effort journal. At the end of each day, write 3 efforts you made regardless of outcome. Maybe you resisted an urge. Maybe you practiced patience. Maybe you completed a task even when you felt tired. Reviewing these efforts shifts your focus from what you lack to what you are building. The Japanese philosophy of growth values continuous practice. It understands that improvement happens in layers. Rewarding effort keeps you consistent long enough for results to catch up. There is also a psychological benefit. When you celebrate effort, you reduce harsh self-criticism. You replace judgment with encouragement. Encouragement increases persistence. Harsh criticism weakens motivation. If you stumble one day, focus on the effort to return the next day. That return is worthy of recognition. It demonstrates commitment. Each time you praise effort, you strengthen your identity as someone who tries, someone who persists, someone who values growth. Identity shapes behavior. Over time, this approach transforms how you view challenges. Instead of asking, "Will I succeed?" you ask, "Will I give my best effort?" That shift removes pressure and increases focus. Effort builds skill. Skill produces results naturally. When a child learns to walk, progress is slow. They fall repeatedly. If the child judged themselves by results alone, they would stop trying. But effort continues because the drive to move forward is rewarded internally. Adults often forget this process. Give yourself permission to grow gradually. Acknowledge the courage it takes to change patterns. Recognize the discipline it takes to resist urges. Appreciate the consistency it takes to build routines. That appreciation fuels progress. There will be days when results are invisible. Those days test your mindset. If you have trained yourself to value effort, you continue calmly. If you depend on results,
you lose patience. Patience is strengthened when effort is the focus. Another practical strategy is setting effort-based goals instead of outcome-based goals. For example, instead of saying I will lose 10 pounds, say I will exercise 5 times this week. Instead of saying I will eliminate my habit completely, say I will practice awareness daily. Effort goals keep you grounded in action. At the end of the week, evaluate whether you honored your effort commitment. If yes, reward yourself with acknowledgement. If not, adjust and continue. Do not underestimate the power of internal reward. A simple moment of pride reinforces behavior. Stand tall, breathe deeply. Say I kept my promise today. That repetition rewires your brain. When effort becomes satisfying, discipline becomes sustainable. You no longer chase dramatic breakthroughs. You build steady progress. Steady progress compounds over time. Imagine a year of rewarding effort. Hundreds of small disciplined actions, recognized and valued. That year would transform your identity. You would no longer measure yourself by short-term fluctuations. You would measure yourself by consistency. Consistency builds trust in yourself. Trust reduces anxiety around change. You know that even if results are slow, your effort continues. That knowledge keeps you steady. The habit you want to break loses strength, because you are no longer depending on immediate success to feel good. You feel good for trying. Trying daily with intention reshapes your character. Reward effort, not results, to rewire your brain. This is not a slogan, it is a strategic decision. It shifts your focus from outcome to action. It builds patience. It builds resilience. It builds discipline. Results will come. They always follow consistent effort. But if you wait for them to feel proud, you risk quitting too early. Choose to feel proud today for showing up. Choose to value the process. Choose to recognize your discipline. That mindset strengthens your mind and prepares you for lasting success. When effort becomes your source of satisfaction, nothing can easily shake your commitment.
Chapter 9. Build self-respect through kept promises daily. There is something deeply personal about a promise you make to yourself. It is quiet. No one else may hear it. No one else may know it exists. But you know, and every time you break that promise, something inside you weakens. Self-respect is not built by public success. It is built by private integrity. When you decide to wake up at a certain time, and you do it, even when you feel tired, you send yourself a message. When you commit to avoiding a bad habit for the day, and you follow through, you send yourself a message. When you choose discipline over impulse in a small moment, you send yourself a message. That message is simple. I can trust myself. Trust is the foundation of self-respect. Many people struggle with bad habits, not only because of temptation, but because they no longer trust their own word. They have promised change before. They have declared new beginnings before. They have set goals and abandoned them. Over time, their confidence erodes. They stop believing themselves. If you do not believe your own commitments, discipline feels impossible. The Japanese system of steady growth understands this principle deeply. It values small daily consistency over dramatic declarations. It respects the power of modest promises kept repeatedly. Start with promises you can actually keep. Do not promise a complete transformation overnight. Do not promise perfection. Promise something specific and realistic for today. For example, promise to delay your urge once today. Promise to read for 10 minutes. Promise to avoid your worst habit for one evening. Promise to go to bed at a reasonable time. Small promises build credibility. When you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, pause and acknowledge it. Feel the sense of alignment between your words and your action. That alignment strengthens your character. Character is built in repetition. If you break a promise, do not collapse into shame. Study what happened. Was the promise too large? Was your energy low? Was your environment not supportive? Adjust intelligently and recommit the next day. Self-respect grows through correction, not through perfection. Think about how you feel towards someone who keeps their word consistently. You respect them. You trust them. You feel safe around them. Now imagine becoming that person for yourself. You wake up when you say you will. You complete tasks you commit to. You follow through on your intentions. That consistency creates quiet strength. Each kept promise adds a layer of confidence. Your brain records patterns. If you repeatedly break commitments, your brain expects failure. If you repeatedly keep commitments, your brain expects follow-through. Expectations shape behavior. Start building a track record of integrity with yourself. Keep it simple. Choose 1 or 2 commitments daily. Write them down. Make them visible. At the end of the day, review them honestly. Did you honor your word? If yes, allow yourself to feel proud. If not, reflect calmly and reset. This daily review sharpens awareness. Self-respect is not loud or dramatic. It feels steady. It feels grounded. It feels like inner stability. When you respect yourself, temptation loses influence. You hesitate before engaging in actions that violate your standards. Standards are strengthened through promises. If you tell yourself you will avoid a certain habit today, and you follow through, you build discipline naturally. If you tell yourself you will complete a task, and you complete it, you build reliability. Reliability with yourself changes everything. Over time, your internal dialogue shifts. Instead of doubting your ability to change, you begin to trust your growth. That trust reduces anxiety and builds courage. Courage grows when you know you can rely on yourself. There is something powerful about ending a day knowing you honored your commitments. Even if the commitments were small, the act of keeping them builds pride. Pride in integrity is lasting. Many people attempt to change too much at once. They promise radical transformation. When they cannot maintain it, disappointment sets in. That disappointment weakens self-belief. Choose consistency over intensity. If you commit to exercising every day for an hour and fail after 3 days, you damage trust. If you commit to 5 minutes daily and sustain it for months, you strengthen trust. Consistency compounds. Each day you keep your word. You reinforce your identity as someone dependable. That identity influences your future choices. You begin to think before breaking a commitment. You value your own word more deeply. That shift marks real growth. Self-respect also changes how you interact with others. When you trust yourself, you communicate clearly. You set boundaries. You decline activities that conflict with your standards. You no longer act from insecurity. You act from conviction. Conviction comes from daily integrity. There will be days when keeping your promise feels inconvenient. Those days matter most. Following through when it is uncomfortable strengthens your character significantly. Discipline in small moments prepares you for larger challenges. Imagine the impact of keeping one meaningful promise daily for a year. That is 365 acts of integrity. That is 365 confirmations of your reliability. That record builds unshakable confidence. You do not need applause from others. You need respect from yourself. When self-respect grows, bad habits lose power because they conflict with your standards. You hesitate before acting in ways that lower your opinion of yourself. Your decisions begin to align with your values naturally. Each morning, ask yourself what promise you will keep today. Keep it clear. Keep it realistic. Keep it meaningful. Throughout the day, remember your commitment. Let it guide your choices. At night, reflect honestly. Did you honor your word? If yes, stand tall internally. If not, adjust and recommit. This cycle builds strength gradually. Do not underestimate the psychological shift that happens when you repeatedly prove to yourself that you can follow through. Trust replaces doubt. Confidence replaces hesitation. Stability replaces chaos. The Japanese system teaches patience and persistence. Self-respect is not built in a week. It is built daily. Daily kept promises create a foundation that supports all other habits. When you trust yourself, you approach goals with assurance. You no longer question whether you can stick with it. You know you can because you have evidence. Evidence creates belief. Belief creates action. Action creates transformation.
Build self-respect through kept promises daily. Make your word valuable. Treat your commitments seriously. Protect your integrity. Over time, you will notice a deep internal shift. You will feel stronger. You will feel steadier. You will feel more capable. And when you respect yourself, your life begins to reflect that respect in every area.
Chapter 10. Choose long-term pride over short-term pleasure. Every day you are faced with a quiet decision. It does not look dramatic. It does not feel life-changing in the moment. It feels small. It feels ordinary. But that decision shapes your future more than you realize. You can choose what feels good now, or you can choose what will make you proud later. Short-term pleasure is loud. It calls your name. It promises comfort. It offers relief. It feels easy. Long-term pride is quiet. It requires patience. It asks for discipline. It does not give instant reward. Most people drift toward what feels good immediately. The brain is wired for quick satisfaction. It wants the tension gone. It wants enjoyment now. It wants comfort without delay. But there is a cost attached to short-term pleasure when it conflicts with your goals. That cost shows up later as regret. It shows up as frustration. It shows up as disappointment when you realize you have repeated the same pattern again. Long-term pride feels different. It may not give you excitement in the moment, but it gives you something deeper. It gives you stability. It gives you confidence. It gives you a sense of growth. Think about a simple moment. You are tired after work. You want to skip your planned activity. Staying on the couch feels comfortable. That is short-term pleasure. But if you get up and complete what you committed to, you may feel effort in the moment, yet later you feel proud. That pride lasts longer than the comfort of the couch. The Japanese system of steady improvement respects long-term thinking. It values consistent discipline over emotional impulses. It understands that the quality of your life is shaped by repeated choices. Ask yourself during moments of temptation, how will I feel about this tomorrow? That question shifts your perspective forward. It pulls you out of the immediate emotion and places you in the future. Imagine waking up knowing you honored your commitment. That feeling is powerful. Imagine waking up knowing you broke your commitment again. That feeling is heavy. Pride builds strength. Regret drains energy. Choosing long-term pride does not mean rejecting all enjoyment. It means aligning your actions with your values. It means recognizing that certain pleasures undermine your growth. There is a difference between healthy enjoyment and destructive indulgence. Healthy enjoyment refreshes you without harming your progress. Destructive indulgence gives relief now and damage later. You must learn to recognize the difference. When you feel an urge connected to a bad habit, pause and visualize the outcome clearly. Picture the moment after the pleasure fades. See the expression on your face. Feel the emotion that follows. Now picture the alternative. See yourself choosing discipline. See yourself completing the task. Feel the calm satisfaction at the end of the day. That mental contrast strengthens your resolve. Your brain often focuses only on the immediate reward. Train it to consider the full picture. Short-term pleasure is often impulsive. It requires no planning. It asks no questions. Long-term pride requires reflection. It requires thinking beyond the moment. Reflection builds maturity. There will be moments when discipline feels uncomfortable. Your body may resist. Your mind may create excuses. That is normal. Growth feels different from comfort. But remember, discomfort during discipline is temporary. Pride afterward is lasting. Each time you choose long-term pride, you reinforce your identity as someone who values growth. That identity influences future decisions. Over time, your standards rise. You begin to expect better from yourself.
You hesitate before engaging in behaviors that conflict with your values. Standards protect your future. Consider the cumulative effect of daily decision. One small choice may seem insignificant, but repeated daily, it shapes your character. If you choose short-term pleasure repeatedly, you train yourself to seek immediate comfort. If you choose long-term pride repeatedly, you train yourself to seek meaningful progress. Training shapes habit. Imagine a year of choosing pride over pleasure. Hundreds of moments where you stood firm, hundreds of evenings where you completed your commitments. That year would transform how you see yourself. You would no longer question your discipline. You would know your strength. Strength is built through consistent sacrifice of impulse. Sacrifice does not mean losing happiness. It means prioritizing deeper fulfillment over shallow enjoyment. When you invest in long-term pride, you invest in confidence. Confidence comes from knowing you can delay gratification. It comes from proving to yourself that you value your goals. That confidence spreads into every area of your life. In relationships, you choose honesty over convenience. In work, you choose preparation over procrastination. In health, you choose discipline over neglect. Long-term pride creates stability. There will be days when the choice feels harder. Stress may increase. Fatigue may lower your resistance. Those days require awareness. On difficult days, simplify your focus. Remind yourself of your value. Ask what action aligns with the person you are becoming. You are not choosing between pleasure and pain. You are choosing between temporary comfort and lasting respect for yourself. Respect matters deeply. When you respect yourself, you make decisions that support your growth. You no longer seek constant validation from others. Your internal standard guides you. The Japanese philosophy emphasizes daily improvement. It does not chase dramatic highs. It values steady progress. Choosing long-term pride aligns with that philosophy. It keeps your eyes on the future without ignoring the present. You can still enjoy life. You can still relax, but you do so intentionally, not impulsively. Intentional enjoyment does not conflict with discipline. As you practice this principle, you will notice a shift in your emotional experience. The thrill of short-term pleasure begins to feel less powerful. The satisfaction of self-control becomes more meaningful. Your brain adapts to what you repeatedly choose. When pride becomes your reward, discipline becomes easier. You begin to crave the feeling of alignment. You enjoy the calm confidence that follows a disciplined day. That calm confidence is deeper than excitement. It is stable. It is reliable. There is something powerful about looking at your reflection and knowing you honored your standards. That feeling strengthens your resolve for tomorrow. Each time you choose long-term pride, you strengthen your character. Character is not built in grand moments. It is built in daily decisions. When temptation appears, remember that you are shaping your future self. You are building habits that will either limit you or elevate you. Choose elevation. Choose actions that your future self will thank you for. This does not require perfection. It requires direction. When you slip, correct quickly. Return to your standard. Continue forward. Progress depends on persistence. Long-term pride may not be loud, but it is powerful. It carries you through difficult seasons. It keeps you steady when motivation fades. Motivation changes. Pride and discipline remain. At the end of your life, you will not be proud of every moment of comfort. You will be proud of the times you stood firm, the times you acted with integrity, the times you chose growth over impulse. That pride is worth more than temporary pleasure. Choose it daily. Choose it consciously. Choose it even when it feels inconvenient. Over time, those choices will shape a life you respect, and there is nothing more powerful than living with deep respect for yourself.